Every piece of software you use, your banking app, your hospital's record system, the firmware in your car, sits on a foundation of open source code. Libraries written by volunteers, maintained in spare hours, downloaded billions of times. When one of those libraries breaks, everything built on top of it breaks too. In March 2025, OpenAI announced something that caught the security world's attention. They called it Patch the Planet, an initiative to use AI not just to find vulnerabilities in open source software, but to fix them automatically at ecosystem scale. Here's what OpenAI described. Patch the Planet uses their large language models to scan open source codebases, identify security vulnerabilities, buffer overflows, injection flaws, dependency conflicts, and then generate patches, not just alerts, actual code fixes submitted as pull requests that human maintainers can review and merge. The initiative launched in late March 2025 as part of OpenAI's broader cybersecurity grant program. According to OpenAI's announcement, the system had already helped identify and remediate vulnerabilities across multiple major open-source ecosystems during an internal pilot phase. The ambition is not to patch one repo, it's to patch the planet's shared software infrastructure. To understand why this matters, consider the track record. December 2020. The SolarWinds breach compromised 18,000 organizations, including US federal agencies. December 2021. The Log4Shell vulnerability in a widely used Java library triggered a global scramble. March 2024. A Microsoft engineer accidentally discovered a sophisticated backdoor planted in xzutils, a compression library embedded in virtually every Linux distribution. That last one was caught by luck. A single developer noticed unusual SSH latency and pulled the thread. The attacker had spent 2 years socially engineering their way into maintainer trust. These aren't theoretical risks, they're the reality of modern software supply chains. Existing tools already operate in this space. GitHub's Dependabot flags outdated dependencies and can auto-generate version bump pull requests. Snyk scans for known vulnerabilities in packages. Google's OSS Fuzz performs automated fuzz testing. But these tools share a common limitation. They primarily work within known vulnerability databases or within individual repositories that opt in. Patch the Planet, as described by OpenAI, aims to go further. It uses frontier language models to reason about code semantically, to identify novel vulnerability patterns that don't yet have CVE numbers. The difference, put simply, existing tools tell you what's already known to be broken. OpenAI's system attempts to find what nobody has noticed yet and write the fix. Critical details remain undisclosed. OpenAI has not published a full technical white paper on Patch the Planet's architecture. We don't know exactly which models power the scanning, whether it's GPT-4 class reasoning, a fine-tuned code-specific model, or something purpose-built. We don't know the false positive rate. In security, a tool that generates hundreds of incorrect patches is worse than no tool at all because it floods maintainers with noise. According to early reports and OpenAI's communications, human review remains in the loop. But the ratio of AI-generated patches to human reviewers and the quality control pipeline haven't been detailed publicly. The question developers and maintainers are asking is practical. Will there be public APIs? Can a maintainer of a mid-sized open-source project opt in to receive AI-generated security patches? As of mid-2025, OpenAI has indicated the program operates through their cybersecurity grants and direct partnerships rather than an open self-service platform. No public API documentation has been released. For maintainers, this creates uncertainty. The open-source community runs on transparency and consent. Any automated system submitting pull requests to independent repositories will need clear opt-in mechanisms, or it risks backlash from a community already wary of how AI companies have used their code for training data. Zoom out. Patch the planet is part of a pattern. AI companies are moving beyond consumer chatbots into critical infrastructure roles. Google's DeepMind has applied AI to power grid optimization. Microsoft has integrated Copilot into its security operations suite. Anthropic has published research on AI-assisted vulnerability detection. OpenAI's cybersecurity initiative, which includes up to $1 million in grants for security researchers, positions the company not just as a tool vendor, but as an active participant in global software security. This is a fundamentally different relationship than selling API tokens. When an AI system generates patches for infrastructure software used by governments and hospitals, the stakes and the liability questions escalate dramatically. The risks are not hypothetical. An AI model that generates patches could hallucinate fixes that introduce new vulnerabilities. An attacker who understands the model's reasoning patterns could potentially craft code designed to evade AI detection, or worse, manipulate it into approving malicious changes. There's also a centralization concern. If one company's AI becomes the de facto security auditor for open source, that creates a single point of failure and a single point of trust. The open source ecosystem's resilience has always come from its distributed nature. Concentrating security review through one AI provider, however capable, could undermine that resilience. Patch the Planet is ambitious and, on its face, genuinely useful. The open source supply chain is under-resourced and under attack. If AI can meaningfully help maintainers find and fix vulnerabilities before they're exploited, that's a net positive for global security. But the implementation details matter enormously. Transparency about the models, opt-in mechanisms for maintainers, open benchmarks on false positive rates, and clear governance about who reviews what. These aren't optional features, they're prerequisites. The planet does need patching. The question is whether we can trust any single entity, no matter how well resourced, to hold the wrench.